Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're closing in on the 4th of July, folks. What the heck has happened to 2025? Shout out to the 19. We're going to revisit something from the Indiana Fever Commissioner Cup Championship against the Minnesota Lynx, specifically Aliyah Boston, because I know for those of you, especially who have been here a while and supported the channel for a long time, you know that I have a love-hate relationship with Aliyah Boston. There's so many things I think she does really well. I think she's got an incredible basketball IQ. I think she's got great footwork in the post at times. I think she runs a great PNR with Caitlin Clark. But I think her picks are actually terrible, which just shows you how good they could be with her and Caitlin Clark. I think she is way too nice. I've said that time and again. I think she is too soft. I've said that time and again. And I think she has not done enough in terms of sticking up for Caitlin Clark. I think she's benefited a lot from Caitlin Clark, but she has not shown enough for me that I truly believe she has Caitlin Clark's back on the court. Now, I think what I'm going to share with you answers a few of those questions. It doesn't answer the Caitlin Clark question, but it does bode well for the Indiana Fever going forward if we see more of this from Aliyah Boston. The only time I've ever really seen an Aliyah Boston get, a little bit chippy, shall we say, is with Brittany Griner for some reason. I've seen that in multiple games, including last season. I don't know if that's Brittany Griner just gets under her skin, if there's a real dislike there for some reason, or something that triggers Aliyah Boston, but she's always had it with Brittany Griner for some reason. Now, this is actually with Napheesa Collier, and I think this is a really interesting play coming from Aliyah Boston. For a lot of players, you'd see this and you say, and we wouldn't even really be talking about it, but with everything we know from Aliyah Boston, I think this is a big deal. So let's take a look at this play late in the second half of the game against the Minnesota Lynx. Okay, now you had the hit. I want to back it up and then I'll play it through because it's two separate things. You had the hit there. The foul got called on Napheesa Collier. Now, if you watch this again, I will say, man, I'm always trying to be fair. I think you all know that. I think this is an offensive foul on Aliyah Boston. And look, I get if you say it's not, like I get there's always that fine line and that interpretation of what is, what isn't, and you definitely want some physicality if basketball is a contact sport. But I just felt like, especially with what's going on with the WNBA, that this is a little bit of Aliyah Boston making more contact. Napheesa Collier is established. Aliyah Boston is moving her out of the way. And then they do call the foul on Napheesa Collier. So let's take a look at that. But then I also want you to see the aftermath. So it's one, I do like Aliyah Boston and that physicality because, as you know, her play in the post has really always been a lot more about her moves and her footwork. She's actually, I will say, for her size, she's pretty quick on her feet. She has pretty quick uh, feet in the paint, and I've always appreciated that about her. But here you see where she's just say, "Hey, I'm going to just straight up move you out of my way." So we'll take a look at that, but then pay attention to what happens afterward as well. Whoop. I guess I should bring it back for you, huh? So we have this, right? I mean, that's just like, bam, get out of my way. Napheesa fouls her. And I guess there was a little bit of contact. Now, Napheesa's looking at her, and Leah's like, wait, what? What? And she is yapping. That is Aliyah. Look at that. That is, oh, I think there was a BS in there too. That is Aliyah Boston, folks. We'll run it one more time. See if YouTube allows us. Gets the foul. I guess, I assume that Napheesa's talking to her there. And Aliyah Boston's like, no, 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 no. I am not taking crap from you. Get out of my face. I will not have it. I still want to see that reaction in defense of Caitlin Clark. By the way, that's a good example of what I'm talking about in general when it comes to defending Caitlin Clark is just get up in a player's face and do a little bit of yapping like that. That's what I would like to see from Aliyah Boston. But in general, specific to Aliyah Boston, I really like this. I don't know if there was stuff going on the rest of the game that led up to this. Clearly, Napheesa Collier was saying something. I'm not sure why. She might have been reacting to the fact that she thought that was clearly an offensive foul against Aliyah Boston. Then she gets the foul against her. And then you look at the fact that Napheesa Collier wasn't playing well. The Minnesota Lynx weren't playing well. They blew a huge early lead against the Indiana Fever. They're playing in Minnesota. It's the Commissioner's Cup. So you've got all of these factors coming into play. And clearly, hey, if any of you, by the way, in the comments, if any of you have seen a reverse angle of this, which I have not seen, I would love to see if I can read Napheesa Collier's lips because you saw Leah Boston turn around, right? You saw Leah Boston turn around on this. And I'm thinking, Napheesa Collier, if we go through this one, Napheesa Collier clearly had to be saying something. And I think it's because of that. And then, because Boston's turned around, she's going the other way. And eventually, and she's hot, fast, folks. And right there, yeah, you said the ref came and got in the way, but there was definitely a BS in there, but not the shorthand version. Aliyah Boston was hot and bothered. And I think going forward for the rest of the season, that right there, if you get that fire from Aliyah Boston, and not all players who have it show it necessarily, but if we can see that from Aliyah Boston every once in a while because we know how nice she is. Look, we all talked about it last year. All the things with Aliyah Boston was she's too nice on the court, and you have to have off the court and on the court. And it's a tricky thing for athletes, without a doubt. There's no doubt about that. I think that's something that Caitlin Clark has. And the Hatelins, they go after her for her fire on the court. I have no problem with it when we're talking about trash talking and getting in players' faces and firing up the crowd and all of that. I have no problem with any of that. Any player who does that, okay, whether I like the player or not. Now, when it's a player you don't like and they're playing your team, it irks you a little bit, right? That's one of the things where you're like, you hate it when it's going against you, but yeah, hey, if we've got that player on our team who gets under the skin of the opponent, then you love that player. You know what I'm saying? And so seeing this from Aliyah Boston, for me, I think this is a big deal. I love to see it. I hope that we have that fire. And the point I was just going to get to, I'm sorry about Caitlin Clark, right? She's very nice off the court, not necessarily so nice on the court, and I love that with my players and coaching my young ones. Especially I've coached a lot more soccer recently than basketball. And I'll say, look, and it's a tricky thing. I won't even go into my whole length of explanation, but basically to sum up is I would try and get them to understand because I would see a lot of being too nice on the field, right? And you're losing because of it. And I say, look, it's tricky. I get it. I'm not asking you to be bad or a dirty player or anything, but you can't be when you step over the line, right? You step over the end line, the sideline or whatever, and you're actually on the pitch or on the court, you're a little different than when you're off it, right? And that's the balancing act of having that fire. And I think we're seeing that from Aliyah Boston right there. I think that's good for her. I think that's good for the team. We'll see what happens going forward. Smash the like button if you're enjoying the content. I appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. Up over 13.2K at this point. Really do appreciate it. Go have the day you deserve. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about this reaction from Boston, whether you think that's good or bad. Some people fall apart when they start getting a little too fiery, but let me know your thoughts. Go have the day you deserve, and I will talk to you later.